Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along to the finale of the Trippsix Motorsport Super Touring Championship Season number 2. We've battled our way across the globe in a very hard-fought championship fight, but it all comes down to this, our third visit to Germany, and we take to the legendary Nurburgring. Of course, only the GP loop. Don't worry, guys, we're not taken to the full Nordschleife. That's for next season, but we get onto that a little bit later on. Of course, coming in today, we've got a lot at stake. Lloyd Biddulph, we'll take a look at the championship standings, of course. So just to run you through things there, you can see Lloyd Biddulph leading the way fairly comfortably on 214 ahead of Bence and Mariusz Zabdi, who are in a fairly hard-fought fight for second, it must be said, so a tip of the scale either way could very much upset that. Pascal Jean-Pietro and Nenad have been keeping each other honest and their fight for fourth. Pavel and as well, not a million miles away in sixth, so look out for that fight over the course of this evening. Shaw's also with an impressive season ahead of Stu Neal, Sebastian Ray and Phil Lawson that round off the top 10, ahead of Alan Axon and Ezekiel Cheminando, the top 12. Of course, beyond that, we've got plenty more drivers. Luciano Vitvit, Thomas Centino and Fraser Rostan to the top 15, and Victor Bernat Rubio, who after last season is going to be glad to have some points on the board. Nate Papadim, Simon Trippek, Benny Norton and Ian Deeney, the top 20, with Emmanuel Lopez, the last of those that have been able to score a point so far this season. My name, of course, is Zach Sweeney. I've been your commentator for the large part of this season. We've had Dareth Acker stepping in a couple of times as well. I'm very much looking forward to getting this final round underway. Of course, we're here at this amazing venue. There's still plenty to be decided. Let's not forget there are £320 worth of prizes on offer for today. 150 for the championship win. Lloyd Biddulph looks to be very comfortable in securing that. 100 for second and 50 for third place in the championship. But if you sat there thinking, well, I'm really slow, I don't really have a chance at winning the championship, don't you worry. As long as you can keep it on circuit, as long as you can minimise your average number of incident points throughout the whole season, you're also going to be in contention for an extra £20 prize for, of course, as I say, those that are able to keep their total average incident limit under 20. I won't divulge, not under 20, the lowest they can, and then they'll get the 20, I should say. I won't divulge too much into as to who is who, just so everyone's in the shadows with that one, just so they know there's no, oh well, I know I'm in contention, so I'll just sit at the back and minimise my incident points just to get an extra 20 quid. No. These guys won't know who they are. The person who wins it won't know who they are until after the second race, where Rich comes in and says, well, hey, you've won 20 quid. And then, of course, we will be able to finalise the championship orders as such. Coming into today, Lloyd Biddulph is the reigning champion. He was able to narrowly beat Mariusz Zabdi last season. This season has been a much different affair. I mean, just looking at his accolades, he's never finished outside the top 5. He's done that twice. He's finished 5th twice. The rest of the season, okay, let's just go through it. Let's talk through it. 3rd, 2nd, 2nd, 1st, 2nd, 5th, 1st, 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 2nd, 1st, 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 5th. There's a lot of firsts there, there's a lot of seconds there, there's a lot of thirds there. Alright, well, I say thirds, there's only one, but you get the point, right? A lot of firsts, a lot of second. That man is absolutely insane. This season has been absolutely monumental. It's been tyrannical for Lloyd Biddulph. He has ran away with this championship. He's not quite wrapped it up yet, but you have to say, as long as he keeps it on the track, as long as he keeps it pointed the right way, it's going to be difficult for Farkash or Zabdir to top him to that top spot. So a lot to lose for Biddulph today, because he's going to want that extra 150 quid. Let's be honest, who doesn't? Of course, with Zabdir and Farkash being as close as they are, that's an extra £50 swing in what is only an 11-point gap. So those two, look out for them to be fighting, because it's not going to take much to sway an 11-point gap in favour of either. So look out for Farkash trying to keep that second place. We have got some information to divulge into over the course of the broadcast regarding Season 3. What I will tell you for now is that sign-up opens on the 1st of December. So if you're looking at this and you're thinking, yeah, I want to give that a crack, get yourself involved, get yourself signed up, get yourself in the Trippsix Motorsport Discord, and get yourself involved, because there is a lot to divulge in. I'll give you little droplets as we go across the rest of the broadcast. So I'll drop them in. I'll just be like, boom, yeah, a little bit extra of season 3, just to keep you guys involved, just to keep you suspended, waiting for that next little bit of information regarding the new season. I've been told little bits. Rich hasn't, you know, he's being quite top secret with it all. He's not giving me the full shebang. He's given me enough though, and I have to say I'm very much looking forward to seeing what season 3 has in store for us. Focusing on the action itself though, into our 12-minute qualifying session. Of course, it's open. Everyone's out on track at the same time. These guys get their crack at, well, whatever best lap time they can set over the course of those 12 minutes. Of course, it's a long lap here at the Nurburgring, probably going to be in the way of maybe a minute 40 per lap, maybe in or around that vein of lap time. Just go and have a look at what they did in practice. Well, even more than that, it's a 2-minute lap, I should say, around the Nurburgring GP loop. So it's a long lap for these touring cars, but it's a fun one. I mean, we've got plenty of overtaking opportunities around this circuit. I mean, some people don't really like the GP loop. I don't mind it. I think it's all right. I think you can definitely get some moves done into turn 1, for example, when you went through the stadium section, maybe into that final corner. So many ways to get these moves done if you're creative about it, right? If you're able to exploit the weaknesses in those in front of you, if you're able to be quicker than them. Of course, we're running the slightly slower variant of the chicane, so we're not going through the fast one, we're going through the NGK one, which is, you know, the left, well, they're both left rights, but one of them is a little bit tighter than the other. Not the one where you can basically take flat out, essentially, so it does open that up to be a bit more of an overtaking opportunity as well. But as you can see, we've got the first set of drivers starting their lap times. Similarly here, you've got Bence and Mariusz now going through turn number 1. I have to say, it's not even felt like the season's probably got going yet, let alone, you know, towards the tail end. But I suppose it's because I've missed a couple rounds. I'm a little bit out of my depth in sort of how long this season actually has been. But we've been going for the best part of 2 months now in terms of every Sunday, getting a good old crack of some racing. So, yeah, I have to say, I've been really enjoying this season, and I cannot wait to see what's to come for next. I'm sure you guys are also very much excited, but, you know, let's get through this one first. Let's get through the end of this season first and foremost. Bence and Mariusz, of course, is going to be, as I say, looking to take those 50 Great British pounds away from Mariusz, or at least keep the sort of provisional 100 Great British pounds that he's got in his pocket at the moment. He's going to want to stop him from halving that down to 50. To keep himself above an 11-point gap to Mariusz. So a good lap time is going to be important, as I did say that overtaking is possible around the Nurburgring, but always helps to start further up, doesn't it? I mean, it doesn't hurt, not going to kill you if you start from pole position. So stay up there, get up there, and put in a good lap time. Of course, we have got the reverse grid race 2 for those that, if this is your first time here at the Trippsix Motorsport Super Touring Championship, welcome in, of course. My name is Zach Sweeney, as I say. I'm the commentator for this absolutely amazing TCR Championship. Basically, we've got the 12 minutes quali. We go into a 20-minute race decided by, the grid decided therefore by the qualifying order, and then into race 2, also 20 minutes in length, a top 10 reverse based on the finishing order of race 1. So you've got the normal race set by the fast lap and quali. You've then got the reverse grid race, which can spice things up a bit. It forces those in the championship fight, those that finished higher up in race 1, to fight their way forwards. Also, it gives those a chance that weren't quite as fortunate in race 1 to then still battle for podiums and wins and top 5s as such a little bit further up. So definitely a good format. It has worked in the past, but definitely not stopped Lloyd from taking a number of double wins this season. Bence and Mariusz is the one to set the pace at the moment. 2:02.864, I believe that says in the top left. Narrowly ahead of Mariusz, Jean-Pierre and Bidolf. I mean, he's close to the back of Pascal, but still 3.5 tenths off pole position. I'd say definitely for Lloyd, his priority today shouldn't be to win the race. I mean, if he can, great, right? But all he needs to do is put some points on the board, right? Even if it's a couple of points, even if he finishes 7th and 7th, that's still good points, still probably going to win in the championship. So as long as he keeps it pointing the right way, you know, I have to say, I mean, he's won enough this season. He already knows what winning tastes like. He already knows he's good enough. Surely you just want to walk away with the championship. So for a bit off, I know he's a driver that's not going to back down from a fight, but maybe he's going to have that on his mind, the thought that, you know what, yeah, there's bigger things at stake here. I'm going to put my ego aside just for a second and know that I am going to be able to take the win in the championship if I can just keep my nose clean. Not to say that if he's going to get pole and run away with it, you know, by all means go for it. The best way to win a championship is to win the race that you win the championship with as well. You know, that doesn't go without, you know, that goes without saying. But maybe just a slight error of caution going the way of the Briton. Halfway through qualifying though, and well, you can see there we've got Mariusz Zabdir trying to get some heat into his tyres in that Lynx & Co machine. Still not used to the Lynx & Co car, I have to say. I mean, it's a bit of a different one. It's not one that I'd seen prior to this season, but it's one that I've firmly had to get used to, considering the vast majority of the field have chosen it as their car of choice. Here's Zabdir though, starting what will probably be his penultimate lap in the session, because obviously race room's not very nice in the form of in terms of leniency. If you don't cross that line before the time is 0 to finish your lap, then tough luck, sunshine, you do not get to finish your lap. So running his way into turn number 1, trying to of course maximise his pace. But talking off qualifying sessions, I believe it was Bence Farkas, or it might be no, it was a different Hungarian in the race room ranked MX5 Cup on Wednesday. Me and Dara, actually, Trippsix own, up the boys, were commentating on that one. And you know, I always say that sometimes qualifying, you know, if you don't finish your lap even 10 seconds before, you're not even going to be able to get you finish your lap, because that's when the results come up. I was very much proven wrong in that regard, because it might have been Farkas, it might have been someone else. They were definitely Hungarian, and they crossed the line as we were reading through the results and put themselves on the front row. So I'm going to have to take that statement back. You can still put in a good lap time even after the results have come up on our screen. I suppose that's more for us than for them. Just makes our life a little bit more difficult if they are able to top it. But while we are on the topic of that race from ranked event, we had Farkas, who looked very, very good, as he always does in MX5s and in touring cars in general. A very versatile driver in that respect, and he's looking to go for the win here potentially as well, considering that he is still at the top of the timer sheets in that pole position. Pavel Mukonin, of course, in a very hard-fought fight with Jean-Pierre and Vladislav for 4th place in the championship. No prizes for that particular one, but some pride. Debut season for Mukonin, of course, and he's very much has impressed. Maybe more to come going forward into season 3, season 4 as well. You know, if he is so much inclined in the future, season 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, however long Trippsix Motorsport Super Touring Championship decides to go on for. Hopefully many months, many seasons, many years to come. Just depends how old Rich Weatherall gets in that time, I do suppose. 3.5 minutes left to go of qualifying. And Zabdir not quite able to improve. A poor lap time for him, a 2:03.8. And getting told, actually, by the way, that the standings from last week were shown on screen, which is helpful. Of course, if you do want to go and have a look, as Richard's just very kindly put in the YouTube chat, make sure you head over to the Trippsix Motorsport Super Touring website and grab yourself onto the lovely results page. There you can see the full list of results. Not really many changes at the front. I mean, you've got Pavel Mukonin. In fact, yeah, what it does mean is that the fight for 4th place is actually a lot closer than we once thought, because Mukonin, Jean-Pierre and Vladislav are only separated by 2 points. It's 159, 158, 157 between each of them. That's a fun fight for 4th place if I've ever seen one. So it essentially comes down to who finishes in front of who in that fight for 4th in the championship. That's exciting. I'm looking forward to that one. So yeah, definitely do go and take a cheeky little gander over at that one. We do apologise for the inconvenience, ladies and gents. Speaking of staying up to date, make sure you Obviously, regularly visit the Trippsix Motorsport website. Follow us on Instagram as well at Trippsix Motorsport. While you're there, drop me a follow as well. Zach Sweeney Comms, I think, is something like that. Oh no, it's Zach Sweeney 19, I believe. Now on Instagram, I've changed it for simplicity's sake, so I don't have to keep saying underscore every time I say my username. So go and give everyone a follow on Instagram. That way you can stay up to date with anything that Trippsix Motorsport does. I mean, we've got the R Factor 2 Championship, the BTCC based stuff. And well, anything that you want to tickle your fancy in across Racestream and R Factor 2, so across multiple sims. If that's something you want to get yourself involved in, do definitely do so. I have already said, but 1st of December is when the sign-ups for Season 3 are going to open. So if you are someone that wants to get involved, make sure you're committed, make sure you can stay in for the whole season, but definitely do dabble yourself in if it is of interest to you. What I will say now about Season 3 is that it's going to start provisionally at the moment on the 18th of February. I don't know if I'm allowed to disclose a little bit about the calendar as of yet, so I'm just going to hold fire on that one. But what I can tell you is there are now 10 weeks of racing, not just 8, 10. So, you know, if you want to get yourself some you know, for 10 weeks of racing action, not just 8, and some good old little bit of prize monies as well, get yourself involved. Sign up on the 1st of December. Getting quick because there will be demand, so we don't want anyone missing out. If you want to get involved as soon as possible. Pavel and Pascal is going to cross the line, of course quicker in the middle sector but slower across the first and third, so not able to improve on his position or on his lap time. Here's Bence and Mariusz, who is slightly slower on his lap times as well. It doesn't seem like anyone is going to be able to improve, so after a very anticlimactic end to the session, we've got Farkash, Zabdir and Mukonen 1, 2, 3. Pascal Jean-Pietro joins him on row 2 ahead of Lloyd Bidoff in 5th. Then comes Shaw's Oyster, who rounds off row 3 ahead of Fraser Rostans, and Nenad Vlasevlevich a little bit further down in 8th. Stu Neal and Ezekiel Chaminando round off the top 10. Great result for the Argentinian. And Alan Axon and Simon Trebek in 11th and 12th. Only 1.4 seconds covering the entirety of the qualifying field, and that definitely shows promise for what should be, hopefully, a very chaotic 20 minutes of racing action ahead of us. Pavel Mukonen, Pascal Jean-Pietro, of course, fighting for 4th place in the championship lineup together on the 2nd row. We've got a 2-minute warm-up. I'm going to step aside for just a second, just to grab a drink. We'll be back for the start of race 1. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, moments away from getting race 1 underway here for the final round, of course. Event 8, events 15 and 16 for this this evening, rounds 15 and 16, of course, of this brilliant championship. Welcome in to Andre and everyone that's watching along on the Trippsix Motorsport YouTube channel. Make sure to Keep you involved with your thoughts, feelings, queries, questions, anything that tickles your fancy over the course of this evening. I have just been given permission to talk about the calendar, so when the race dies down a little bit, you might be able to indulge. Might just release it a round at a time. Might just release a mismatch calendar just to really throw you guys off your game. And if you really want to know, then you're going to have to get yourself into that Discord link right there that good old Rich Weatherall has posted into the YouTube chat. So if you watch along, we know we've had some very loyal people watching along this whole season. Get yourself involved, get out on track, have some fun. There's prizes to be won, and of course rivalries to be had. At the moment, the drivers are on their formation time, basically in race room terms. That's them being sat on the grid, you know, having their final tweaks to the setup. Now we get the 5 red lights to come on. 20 minutes on the clock. It's Farkash and Zabdi fighting for second place in the championship. Race 15 of the Trippsix Motorsport Super Touring Championship season number 2 is underway here at the Nurburgring. A fantastic launch from pole position for the Hungarian sees him immediately over to the right hand side to defend and hold on to that lead. Mariusz Zabdi tucks in quite nicely, pulls out to the left, of course, trying to mount a bit of a challenge to the outside of turn number 1. The pole is very late on the brakes. He has got his nose ahead. Is he going to take the lead of this race very early on? He might well do. He's pushed to the extremities of the circuit by Bence Farkash, who's now got the outside as they run their way through turn number 2. Is Zabdi going to be able to hold his own down the hill towards turn number 3? It's later on the brakes for Zabdi. Farkash is left to dry, and now you've got Pavel Mukonin trying to put a bit of little pressure onto the Hungarian, who loses that lead off the opening lap. A brilliant start from Mariusz Zabdi, trying to earn himself that runners-up spot in the championship and an extra 50 great British pounds to his name. Through as we run away through the middle sector of this circuit, you've got 4 Lynx & Co machines, 1, 2, 3 and 4, led the way by Zabdi, Farkash, Mukonin and John Pietro, just ahead of championship leader and future potentially championship winner of Lloyd in the top 5. A couple of changes a little bit further back, but nothing really to write home about. Don't forget, not only do we have the fight in the championship to be had, there's also those that are in contention for the lowest average incident point number, also trying to keep themselves clean. I mean, they don't know who they are, but you know, you never know if it could be you, so why take that risk? Keep your nose clean, keep your incident points low, and sail through this race as easily as possible. I'm sure for Zabdi and Farkash, though, incident points are the least of their worries. They're going to want each other's position in the championship. Zabdi ahead of Farkash. Of course, they both come into this race knowing full well what is at stake and what can be had. Both of them want it. Unfortunately, only one of them is going to be able to get it into the NGK chicane. Zabdi goes defensive. Farkash tries it to the outside, but not quite able to as they run their way through the right, then into the left. Immediately going defensive, though. Look at that very poor run, and Farkash is trying tooth and nail, but it's opened the door for Pavel Mukonin. What a move from the Russian, who sticks his nose on the inside, puts his foot to the floor and takes second place ahead of Bence Farkash and handing more points in the way of the Polish driver of Mariusz Zabdi. Great defensive driving from Zabdi, nearly over the line, but not quite. Farkash immediately on the counter-attack. They fly in formation, and Pavel Mukonin, in fact, is going to go for the lead to the outside of turn number 1. It's more of a defensive measure than an offensive one, just to try and keep Farkash at bay. It's worked. He stays in second. What a battle this is turning itself out to be. The top 6, 7 even, all of them nose to tail in this fight at the front. 17 minutes still to go in terms of racing action as well. So here we go. Very much keep it up. Keep it up, says Andre in the YouTube chat. And very much so. I'm thoroughly enjoying this opening moment of the race. And for those that aren't with the Trippsix Motorsport guys just yet, this could be you in a few weeks' time. Into Dunlop. Another decent overtaking opportunity on the circuit if the opportunity arises. Into the Michael Schumacher S's as well. Not so much of an overtaking opportunity, but could set you up for one if you get a great run or the driver in front gets a poor one. Can set you up for some good overtakes, all dependent on the run the driver in front gets. Pavel Mukonin looking very, very feisty in that fight for the lead, but he's got to be careful. He's looking both forwards and he's looking backwards, both to attack and to defend. He wants to get the lead from Zabdi, but also stop Bence Farkash getting himself back into second place and undoing the Russians' progress. bit of a breakaway. The top 7 are away from the rest of the pack. They've just sort of split apart from each other. So you've basically got the back 5 and the front 7. Zabdir leads yet another lap onto lap 3 of this race. Can Mukkonen do anything into turn number 1, or is he going to be looking in his mirrors, trying to keep the Hungarian behind? Pascal Jean-Pietro's our line up, a little bit of move. There could be Farkas. He goes to the right. He's braver on the brakes, but I think Mukkonen is going to take the track away, or is he? He's ran in a bit too deep, gets his nose sliced off, and Farkas is back into second place in a very tiny textbook move. Now back ahead of the Russian, who's under fire in fairness. That threat from being overtaken again from Jean-Pietro. Anyone familiar with karting will know that you know, these pack races, they're brutal. It's either overtake or be overtaken, because as soon as you're overtaken you fall like a stone in water. And by a stone in water I don't mean a boring one, I mean one that will sink, but I think you got that metaphor anyway. But to redeem myself, how about I indulge a little bit into this battle that's going to materialise just now. Lloyd Biddulph getting overtaken for once in his life ahead of Shores Oyster, who sent it in a little bit too deep going into Dunlop. And Lloyd Biddulph gets himself back ahead and into 5th place. So again, just trying to keep his nose clean, stay out of trouble and maximise his points haul to win this championship of Season 2. But before I was interrupted by the Dutchman, I was about to reveal that on the 18th of February, we're going to, drumroll please, we're going to Suzuka for the opening round of season number 3, that amazing championship spanning, of course, 10 rounds, 20 races of action. We start it all at the iconic Japanese circuit of Suzuka, so that definitely should be a very fun one to indulge in over the course of the few months to begin 2024, basically to see us through the first third of the year. Massive Levic running a little bit wide. Shermanando able to pick himself ahead of Fraser Rostance in that battle for 9th and 10th as we approach the halfway point of this race. 13 minutes 40 seconds left to go, so plenty to come. Still that split, that rift between the top 7 and the back 5. For these guys, as I say, there is plenty at stake. Championships, positions, money, incident points to keep as low as you can, pride on the line. Of course, Lloyd Biddulph is looking to go for his 2nd consecutive championship, which is absolutely insane. He has had an insane run of form in terms of podiums and such. But another feature, boom, nicely segued into more talk about Season 3, is that we did reveal it last week, or the week before in fact, that we get the Jack Sears Trophy, or a similar concept as the Jack Sears Trophy that you see in BTCC. Basically, it's the best of those that can't quite get into that top 3. Those that, you know, the highest finishing championship position that hasn't scored a podium. Essentially your Nico Hulkenbergs of the BTCC, I suppose. Those that are great and get those 4th, 5th, 6th places and score some good points in the championship but are yet to get a podium. That could, well, come with some extra prize money, some extra pride, some good, nice little incentives to go and win that one. So another interesting concept going into season number 3. And also keeps people in that fight. Those that aren't able to score podiums as such, those that are fighting for the scraps, still have some scraps to fight for. Even if they're not quite championship glory, they're still something. And keeps people entertained, interested all the way through the championship, even if they're not quite to the caliber of the likes of Biddulph and Zabdir and Farkas at the front. Top 3 stay stagnant. Top 5, 6 stay stagnant going into turn number 1. Getting some nice running commentary from Andre in the YouTube chat. Clearly a very adamant Pavel Mukkonen fan. At the moment running 5th, 3rd I should say. where 5th came from. Maybe because of the championship leaders in 5th, and Pavel is just that good. I assumed he would be leading the championship in some form. Maybe next season if he is so inclined. But at the moment in 3rd, and he needs to be getting some good pace in his pocket. You can see in the background, Lloyd picks his way into 4th ahead of Pascal Jean-Pietro, who didn't really put up too much of a fight for the Audi RS3. Who is slowly but surely reeling himself back into contention. Of course, not the best qualifying, but very much is a race driver, is Lloyd. I mean, his qualifying pace isn't bad at all. But he is a racing driver. He's not a qualifying driver. He makes those paces up, even if his pace isn't as good as it usually is. You can see now he's making the most of it in 4th, and give it a couple of laps, I'm sure he'll be knocking on the door of what could be a top 3 going into the second half of race 1, which we do now. 9 minutes, 58 seconds left to go. Pavel doing a great job in 3rd, hammering the top 2 as best he can and looking for another podium position. Of course, all the way back in Monza, he got his debut podium in race number 1 and has boasted some similar success throughout the entirety of the season, and is now fighting with 2 drivers that are contending for 2nd place in the championship. So that speaks volumes as to the calibre of driver that Pavel is. Inside line for Farkas, he's trying to go for the lead. He's gone for it. He's sent the move. Zabdi tries to keep it the long way around. They do come to blows. There's a little bit of contact between the 2 of them. Is Farkas ahead by the time they reach 2? Zabdi tries to chuck the nose in, but he's got a bit too deep, and now he's under pressure. Pavel Mukkonen gets a nice switcheroo on him. Inside line down the hill into 3. Zabdi gives him some space. Mukkonen over the curb to try and launch an attack, but not quite close enough. And Farkas is able to pick his way through quite nicely. I think Zabdi was led into the sense of security that he could go around the outside of turn number 1, but it's so difficult because of that camber on the inside of turn 1, because of how late Farkas broke, and of course helped with a slight bit of side-to-side contact. Zabdi unable to hang on to it, and now needs to try and drive and get back onto the back of Farkas if he wants any chance of closing that 11-point gap that he has got over the pole for an extra 50 Great British pounds of prize money. 8 minutes 25 left to go. Through the left, then the right of the Schumacher S's, and again it is all about setting up. It's all about momentum here at the Nurburgring, particularly that sequence of corners. Thinking about it is Mukkonen. He's keeping Zabdi under pressure. I think it's working, because Zabdi is looking more in his mirrors than he is his windscreen in order to get after Bence Farkas. All over the rear end of him. He's practically pushing him through the kink. Could this now be the spark for the move? Quite on the brakes for long enough into the chicane really to matter much. Seven minutes 30 left to go. So around about 3 laps left. Maybe 4 actually. 3 laps would be a minute and a half here, so we're going to get 4 laps left. Still plenty to fight for, still plenty of opportunities yet to come. Laszlo cheering on Bence Farkas. Such a huge Hungarian presence I've noticed in Race from Esports. I mean, we've got Farkas, of course, fighting in this one and in the Rank Championships. We've got a number of Hungarians fighting towards the top level across the Racing Rank Championship Season 2 of 2023, which, you know, it is a pleasure. I am on the commentary team for that one. I did last week with the MX-5s. I'm going to be this week for the Porsche Carrera Cup, the week after for Prague's, and the week after that again for the MX-5s, before 2 weeks after that jumping on for the Porsche Carrera Cup as well. So if you are involved at the top end of Race from Esports, then do come in, say hello with me and Dareth for the next couple of weeks. Trippsix Zone, as I said earlier, the boys, and so many familiar names. The only reason I bring up the Race from Rank side of things is not only because it is a great series and they are really nice guys, but also because there are so many recognisable names: Farkas, Zabdi, Luciano Vitford, Would like to see Lloyd Biddulph. I haven't seen Biddulph involved as of yet in a ranked event, and I would like to, because he is a mightily strong driver. So he would be, of course, a very good contender in that regard. 5 minutes 40 left to go. I apologise, ladies and gentlemen. My mum, bless her, just very discreetly tried to open my door, and she smuggled in a nice hot chocolate and a Monsters University mug just to keep me going. She does that a lot. It beats, you know, bursting in, because my door is very squeaky. We've got a little bit of time in the race, so I'm going to indulge you in this. Yeah, she just very quietly opened the door, and she was crouched down, just passing it through, and then she whispered Zach while I was talking, because she doesn't want to disrupt the broadcast, which I think is very nice and very supportive. So cheers, Mum, I appreciate that, and I will very much enjoy that on the break between race 1 and race 2. It firmly is hot chocolate season, by the way. I do love this part of the holidays, of course, for those celebrating Christmas or whatever your religious holiday is at this part of the year. I don't know, just getting cold, get some marshmallows and whipped cream, whack that into hot chocolate, and jobs are good. And honestly, it is a great time. Of course, when I'm up at 6:30 in the morning to go to work and I'm freezing and my car barely wants to start because it's a diesel and they, you know, rely a lot on heat to actually start, you know, that's a little bit more frustrating. But being snuggled, you know, get the heating on. Well, don't actually, because it's going to cost you, you know, your whole 150 quid prize money for Lloyd Biddulph to have it on. But get yourself snuggled, dressing gown, hoodies, all the like. Get yourself excited for the holidays. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, that was my little tangent of today. Probably won't be the only one, but I just wanted to indulge in that because I just find that quite funny. It's nice, everyone being so supportive of what is effectively pretend race cars out here on circuit. But you know, sometimes it is more than a hobby. It is a passion. It is a passion. And there is money to be won. I mean, even, you know, at levels like the Trippsix Motorsport, which, you know, is sort of that semi-professional. You know, we've got some really good drivers, but also allowing for some of the newcomers to jump in and have their go. You know, now towards the top end of things with ESLR1 and Race Room Rank as well. There's some good cash prizes on offer there. There is a lot of money now in sim racing, so it is turning itself more from just a hobby into now a passion, into a career path as well. So nice to see that, you know, the people around us, the families and friends and such, are really taking that on board and being really supportive with it, because these guys devote hours upon hours of time in order to deliver good results. I mean, especially towards the top end. You ask, you know, the likes of Diogo Pinto and Chris Lallum and the Team Redline drivers to name some, and then obviously, you know, the Mac Backhams and Maximilian Beneckers and Luciano Victorson, you know, basically any big presence in sim racing, and you ask them how much time do you put into your sim racing, they will say a lot. You know, especially those that do it full time. This is their day job. This is how they put a roof over their heads, so they almost have to deliver. They're always under that pressure of delivering. So there's a lot of time and a lot of prep that goes into it. Even, you know, as I say, the sort of the lower divisions, the lower championships, you know, even those that don't offer prize money, people put in a lot of hours to practice in order to deliver, just to, you know, get that experience, to improve and maybe advance at some point into those higher up competitions. You know, we're now getting, you know, the likes of Prodigy Pass and Rocket, allowing drivers from sim racing to take the step into real world motorsport. I was a part of the Formula E Accelerate commentary team on R-Factor 2 for their 2023 season, and over the course of their 3-season campaign, they've allowed the, you know, the higher finishers in the championship to go and drive the real life Gen 3 FI Formula E car. And Pavel Mikona nearly finding himself into the side of Mariusz Sabda there. That was a very close call, and hence the elevated tone. He thought about it, nearly sent the move, but wasn't quite able to. But yeah. So, you know, you're getting those big names, as I say, Formula E, allowing people to have those test drives. Prodigy Pass allowing these guys to go and race radicals at Prodigy Week. Starting the final lap of this race, by the way. It's Farkas from Zabdit. Inside line for Pavel Mukkonen, though. He set that from a long way back. Zabdir keeps his foot in the long way around. A little bit of contact at the pinch point of the apex. Pavel trying now to get the up and under. He did that exact move the first time he had a go at Zabdir. He's allowed to have that inside line. The final lap of the race, and it comes down to this. Zabdir gives him the squeeze, but Mukkonen is not backing down from this one at all. He gets the up. Has he got the under? He's tried. He keeps his foot planted firmly through the floor of that cockpit. Is it enough to see him alongside by the time they reach the next braking zone? No, it is not. So Mukkonen forced to stay behind for now, but pushing to the absolute limit, wanting this podium, but also wanting just that little bit more as well. He's not going to settle second or third. It's a podium either way, but what a battle this is turning itself out to be. What it has meant is that Farkas is now in good stead to take the win of this race. So not good news for Zabdir in his fight for second place in the championship. He's going to be taking a firm step back, and he's going to need a miracle going into race 2 in order to solidify it. Well, not even to solidify it, just to get it. Just to get it in liquid form, or I don't know, gas form, I suppose. There's some form of it staying there. Pavel Mukkonen now going to the outside of the final sector. Tries to get another switchback, and those are prominent for Mukkonen's driving style. It's now invite him to go to the outside of this right-hander, but Mariusz Zabdir keeps his foot and says, no, you do not. Weaving around now to the right to cover off his bases and minimise that run through the kink. Is he going to defend going into the chicane? I think he might well do. Is Mukkonen going to be brave enough on the brakes? This is arguably his final opportunity, but not quite there yet. Through the left, over the curbs. Mukkonen is running out of opportunities if he wants that second place. I think he is going to have to settle unless there's going to be a miracle on that run to the line. But talking of, Bence Farkas is going to take yet another victory this season and take himself closer to solidifying second place in the championship across the line for the Hungarian victorious ahead of Zabdir and Mukkonen. We'll talk you through the final finishing orders in just a second. What a race, what a battle. Great respect. Definitely shows some good prospect for race 2. Fastest lap and the win for Bence Farkas ahead of Mariusz Zabdir and Pavel Mukkonen, who joins them on the podium. Had a championship leader, Lloyd and Pascal Jean-Pietre, the top 5. Jules Oyster, Vlasivljevic 6 and 7 ahead of Ezekiel Cherminando, finishing a very impressive 8th place. Stu Neal, Fraser Ross starts 9th and 10th and will start on the front row of race number 2. Simon Trebek, Alan Axon, the 2 outside of the top 10, unfortunately, and will be starting in those respective positions going in to the final race of the championship. I'm going to step aside just for a couple of seconds. We'll be back for race 2. Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen, as we are just moments away from getting race 2 underway for this evening of racing action. My name's still Zach Sweeney in the commentary booth, and it should be a ton of fun. Of course, this is the final race of Season 2. And I'm hot chocolated up. Went through all of it in that brief 5-minute intermission. Shows how much I like my hot chocolates. And, well, hopefully the racing action here for race 2 is going to show you why I love commentating so much as well. 20 minutes back on the clock. Fraser Rostan, Stu Neal, the front row. The 5 red lights are on. Race 2 here at the Nurburgring. The final race of this season is up and underway. A good launch initially from Fraser Rostan, but it seems that Stu Neal has got the jump, potentially looking to go to the right-hand side into turn number 1, or maybe not. It seems the Audi RS3 definitely has the measure, at least for now. Stu Neal looking to go to the right. There's Cherminando as well, looking quite eager in the background. Shaw's also trying to thread the needle through the middle of 2 cars, but not quite able to come to fruition in that regard. There's multiple rows of 3 cars going side by side. Bit of contact as well as Vasilevich tries to pick his way into second place. Quite nicely done, it must be said. But he's being very aggressive in the opening moments. It's an Audi RS3 1 and 2. Fraser Rostan heads the field. What about the chaos that's ensuing a little bit further back? Bence Farkash dropping to 12th place, now 11th ahead of Alan Axon. Mariusz Sabdir now needs to grasp this opportunity with both hands and work his way forward. Lloyd Bidoff in 8th. Not really many major changes. Bidoff down 1, John Pietra down 1, but Pavel and Pascal moving his way forwards quite nicely into 6th place, up 2 from the opening phase. 19 minutes, still plenty of time left to go in this race. We've barely even managed to get it underway. Already so much carnage, so much action, and so much more to come. Side by side, Cherminando looking to get himself onto the podium ahead of Stu Neal just in the background of this fight through Dunlop. You can see the 2 emerge side by side. The Argentinian now has to fall behind as they rise up the hill towards the Schumacher S. Is he going to try and keep his nose the long way round? I don't quite think so, but he is going to set himself up quite nicely. Through one, out of the other. He's got Shaw's Oyster now for company as well. 4 cars very densely packed into a very small occupying space of racetrack side by side as Cherminando tries to send the move. There's a bit of contact with Stu Neal, who does emerge behind. Shaw's Oyster now to the outside, but a huge send from the flying, from Stu Neal, I should say. Shaw's Oyster as well with a huge send in the background, but side by side and a flash of the headlights really from Ezekiel Cherminando as he drops down to 5th. Pavel Mukonin making the most of all the carnage into 4th. Cherminando being very aggressive, very punching. Oh my goodness me, that is absolutely unacceptable. Huge moment out of this race for Cherminando, caught red-handed, and not what we want to see at all. Mukonin and Neal both involved, and a bittersweet shadow cast over the rest of this race and the championship finale. Vasilevich takes the lead away from Fraser Rostan, but well, I'm sure there's going to be a very hot-headed Rich Weatherall and some very hot-headed racing drivers as well out there on circuit. I'm not going to give too much of an input into it, but you know, it's never on. You know, you could tell there was malice in that. It wasn't like his sim rig failed or whatever. And a little bit annoyed about the small incursion, but there was still so much of race left to go that it wouldn't really have, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it wouldn't have made that big of a difference, that small little push, but it's now made a huge difference for Cherminando and his future in the championship. Hello to Charlie Monk, by the way. That guy, if you haven't seen him in an MX-5, you should. He's a good guy. He's rapid. Was on the verge of taking a race win in race 2 on Wednesday. Where were we? We were mid-Ohio. Unfortunately got a little bit too ambitious and lost the opportunity, but there are more to come for him, I'm sure. Same too with Zabdir, looking to move his way into 3rd place ahead of Shaw's Oyster, who the Dutchman keeps his foot in a long way round. Nicely done. Zabdir though, keeping it firm, fight side by side as they run on this back flat out section towards the NGK chicane, the faster layer of the 2. And Zabdir is up into 3rd place, but it's not going to be easy in order to keep it. Shaw's Oyster, Pascal Jean-Pietre also battling now for 4th. Porsche Cup, it is on Wednesday. I'm going to be on the commentary for that one at Imola, so keep an eye out for Charlie Monk. I mean, MX-5s to Porsche Carreras is not a huge jump. I mean, they're both rear-wheel drive sports cars, so it should be a fairly nice sort of leap for you. I mean, to be fair, the way the whole format is laid out, the MX-5s into the Porsches, into the Pragas, it's a nice ladder as such, sort of in that gradual progression towards each of them, side by side as well. Bence and Mariusz moving his way into 5th place, very aggressively on the inside of Pascal Jean-Pierre. Zabbed in now with each lap that passes by is one less, as Fraser Rostance is somewhere. There we go. Oh, unfortunately, I think we're having some technical problems, ladies and gentlemen. We will update you as soon as we can. However, at the moment, we're not in the session. We'll try and get back in as soon as we can, of course. But not entirely sure as to what can be done. We'll keep you updated, of course, as things develop. But yeah, Charlie Monk, why don't you get involved in Trippsix? Why don't you come see what you like in some front wheel drives next season? By the way, ladies and gentlemen, I do have to indulge a little bit more into it because I'm a little bit slow. Talking of Imola, that's going to be round 3 of the championship on the 3rd of March. Before we head to the Twin Ring Motegi the week after for round 4. Spa, I will tell you, is the 5th and final round of the first half of the season. Haven't told you what round 2 is, and it's a returning favourite of the Trippsix Motorsport Super Touring Championship. That'll be on the 25th of February, and that'll be at Aragon. So there you go. There's the first half of Season 3 announced. Welcome. Yeah, looks good. There's still more to come, though. Don't you worry. And once we're back into the session, of course, we will keep you updated as to what those will be. We are hoping for increased prize money as well for those that like a little bit of extra moolah in their back pocket at the end of each championship. So with a longer season, hopefully will come a little bit more prize money. Not necessarily bigger prizes for the championship winner. That would be nice, but maybe more prize money. So not necessarily just restricted to the top 3. We'll see if it can maybe, dwindle its way down a little bit further. But all is to be announced. All new news is yet to be announced in the Trippsix Motorsport YouTube Discord channel, by the way, which the invite link is in the YouTube chat. If you do feel so inclined, get yourself involved and get yourself going. Charlie Mike saying the Porsche Cup has got a lot of good drivers. It will be a tough race. I'm looking forward to it. Imola in some low downforce Porsche Cups is tough. And Charlie Mike saying he's trying to. He's raced TCRs previously, so that would be good. Get some Charlie Monk racing in on the action. Bence and Mariusz coming in to say he's lost connection. I think it has been a server-wide problem. So it's not necessarily just us in the commentary booth that has had some issues. But I think what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, of course, just while we sort things out for just a second, I'm going to step away for a few moments. We'll be back once the issues are resolved, and we'll keep you updated. Don't go anywhere, of course. You're on the back soon screen, so go get yourself a nice hot chocolate. I might go make myself another one. Who knows? Depends how much time we've got. But, yeah, get yourself a drink, some snacks, and we'll be ready to go for the rest of race 2 in a few moments' time. Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies for the small technical difficulties. We have decided to go for a full race restart of race 2, minus Ezekiel Chaminando, of course, for obvious reasons there. But we won't delve too much on that. We've still got plenty of exciting racing to come, and we basically get a little bit extra time as well for good measure. I think we're still having a couple of quirks as such, but just waiting for the final couple of people to get themselves into the session before we're back for race number 2. Very much looking forward to, of course, how things can get on. But yeah, unfortunate little bit of malarkey that's unfortunately got in the way. Yeah, we had a server crash, and it has prompted a full race restart because we hadn't really completed much of the race anyway, only a couple of minutes. So there's that. But welcome in to everyone that has been tuning along, the likes of Charlie Monk, Andre, now Sergey is in, of course, has come in and watched plenty of races so far this season, and well, you know, it's been good to have everyone. It's been good to have some nice loyal viewers of this amazing championship, and it has been a pleasure. Of course, as Andre has just touched on there in the YouTube chat as well, it does mean a very good second chance for those that have been involved in some earlier issues in this race, the likes of Pavel Mukkonen, you know, who were involved in that incident with Ezekiel Chaminando. Gives them the, you know, that chance to, you know, redeem themselves, take a step in the right direction. Charlie Monk having some skill issues. Good thing he's better at driving than he is typing. But thank you very much, of course. Some nice words about the standard of commentary in the booth. It has been me, Zach Sweeney, for the vast majority of this season. But as I say, we have had Dara Thacker in the mix, who Charlie Monk also now follows on Twitter. He follows me as well, which is great. So I do feel very honoured in that regard. We have just been told we've got 90 seconds until the race start gets underway for race number 2. So yeah, you know, you've had me, you've had Dara. Hopefully we'll have some good old, you know, maybe we could have Dara Thacker back for season 3. He's all right. He's a good lad. He's a little bit on the shorter side, so we do have to get him a nice high stall for the commentary booth, but he's all right, I guess. He didn't pass his driving test last Saturday, but you know, can you blame him? Can hardly reach the pedals, bless him. So there you go. He tried to argue the toss and say that it was it shouldn't have been a fail, but he nearly crashed into someone, so you know, probably should have been. Granted, it was the other person trying to crash into him, but you know, we won't get into that too much. That's not important. That's not relevant. It's the Trippsix Motorsport Super Touring Championship Season 2 season finale. Of course, we've had round 15. We're now going into round 16, and waiting for the server to, of course, move itself forward into the next session. Fraser Rostance at the moment just getting some final practice laps in before we go again for race 2. I think maybe just trying to keep his adrenaline running. Of course, for these guys, it was that adrenaline spike of the opening moments of a race, and then that's all just come dying down in the confusion of what's happened. So I think Fraser Rostance just trying to keep the blood pumping, keep himself in the rhythm, and try not to have that crash. You know, like when you have a coffee too early into your work day, and you get that boost, and then you get to 4 o'clock and you think, oh, it was an hour too early, and then you crash. Same thing with adrenaline, I suppose, in some aspects. We've all been there, we've all done that. You know, that's why I always save my Monster for lunch break, because at least then I know that it's going to last me till 5 o'clock. But anyway, enough about good old hormones and chemicals and everything that goes on in your body at the start of a race. Caffeine probably wouldn't be a bad idea for these guys. No, Sergey, it's not a restart of the whole event. We're just restarting race number 2 in isolation, because race number 1 really didn't have much of an impact. Or wasn't impacted at all. But anyway, race number 2, part 2. 20 minutes back on the clock. Fraser Rostance, Stu Neal back onto the front row of the grid. Let's see what is in store for us for the final race of Season 2. We're up and underway here at the Nurburgring. And it's a second chance for some, and, well, some bad luck for others in their initially really good start. They've now got to do it all over again. Into turn number 1. Who's going to be able to survive the melee? 20 minutes back on the clock, side by side for third place. Pavel trying to pick his way up into third, maybe even second as well. He eyed it up for just a little bit, side by side, as they rise up over the slight inclination towards turn number 2. But a very, very good start for Fraser Rostance, able to retain that race lead ahead of Stu Neal and Shaw's Oyster picking his way into the podium place in third, but not with any rollovers from Pavel. He really is just fighting tooth and nail, the absolute tank that is the Audi RS3. He loves to give a good battle, and that's exactly what he's doing in the opening moments of this race. A bit of a better start for Bence in the opening moments, but off the road, Shaw's Oyster into the gravel trap. He's had a bit of a moment, I think. Same too with Nenad versus the two of them battling so hard, unfortunately coming to blows. Shaw's Oyster in the Alfa Romeo rejoins the circuit, albeit with probably a huge slap on the wrist in terms of a very big penalty. So it might not be a slap on the wrist, might be a big old boot in the face for Shaw's Oyster. But Vlasovic family out of race 2, part 2. So far, so good. Pavel up to third place already, making some light work of the opening phase of this race. Farkas and Zabdiv also making some good progress. Bidov, I think, staying stationed in 7th place from where he started in this race. Simon Trippsix now inside the top 10 as well, so some good progress all round, really making the most of mistakes up and down the field. A little bit wide in the background for the Renault Megane of Simon Trippsix, the only Renault to take to the field. Into the NGK chicane, and look at how many blue Lynx & Co machines there are. I don't know if that is the only livery for Lynx & Co, as that is a huge set. Mariusz Zabdiv, that was audacious. What a move, what a... wow. Yeah, I probably should say more about that, but I'm just left speechless. What a move. He just saw the gap, went for it, kept his nose on the inside and got himself ahead of Pascal Jean-Pierre. Now the Swissman is on a bit of a fight back. He's not being passive in this fight whatsoever. Outside line, Lloyd trying to emulate what Mariusz Zabdiv did in terms of making a move past the Swissman, but no advancements on this particular attempt. Pavel on the back of Stu Neal in that fight for second place. And would like to make some quick work of Neal if he can help it, because he's got some very fast people in not too distant proximity to him. I mean, they're all very, very close to each other. So the quicker the Russian can get away, the better for his chances in this race. Yes, I think Nenad did have a bit of an incident, presumably with Shaw's Oyster, and that was the explanation for the gravel being kicked up in the background at this very corner. Or, well, technically the corner before it, but that shot, I suppose. So, a huge shame for Vlasovic in his final race of the season. Bit of a train here though, nicely formed by Fraser Rostance heading the way. Bit of a gap though, he's sort of just kept everyone at a nice arm's length back. Inside line for Pavel, who is going to go for the move. He likes that little bit of a nip and tuck line through that left-hander. It's now going to give him the outside for the next right. Is he going to be able to have the speed? I think he might well do. Stu Neal gives him the space. Nicely done from Mukkonen, keeping the minimum speed up. Side by side between Trippsix and Acton as well in the background. What can Mariusz Zabdiv do in this particular battle? Of course, Mukkonen, it's not the most ideal overtaking opportunity into the chicane, but he is ahead going in, so ideally should keep the position. He does, into second place. Zabdiv as well trying to make some moves forward, but unfortunately tumbling backwards as three rows of two even going into the final corner, at least momentarily. Stu Neal gets himself back ahead of Pavel Mukkonen into P2. Pascal Jean-Pierre now ahead of Mariusz Zabdiv, who drops to 5th. Bence Farkas trying to put some pressure on, but it's all the same. Everyone is in the same car. So now to the outside. Pavel Mukkonen under pressure. Pascal Jean-Pierre goes for 2 in 1. What a move! Nicely done from Pavel Mukkonen, who tries to hang everyone behind him as best he can. He dropped back initially, but then picked his way into second. Nicely done from the Russian. Mariusz Zabdiv now picks his way into third. Absolute carnage and chaos in the opening moments of this race. Lloyd now involved as well. Keeps his foot around the outside, I believe, with Pascal Jean-Pierre or in fact Stu Neal. Absolute carnage with 15 minutes still to go. 15 more minutes of this would definitely leave me with no voice, which has happened before with the Trippsix guys. The first ever round back in Silverstone left me with no voice for a good 2 weeks after the fact. Just how chaotic the racing was. It was between Lloyd and Mariusz Zabdir. What a race it was. A little bit of a slow run from Bence Farkas in the background. Andre encouraging Pavel to push and get after Fraser Rostance, but he's not really had an opportunity to breathe as of yet. Neither have I, in all fairness. Very chaotic opening moments. Through Dunlop and still side by side. I think that is Bence Farkas versus Pascal Jean-Pietre in their respective fight for 6th. Getting some good old Star Wars references in the YouTube chat. Lloyd bit off like Darth Vader. He's using the Force to push himself forward. Just clear the seas for him. I've never really watched Star Wars, so I won't be able to join in on said references. Unfortunately, sorry to let you all down. Maybe you can make them all for me and I'll just relay them to YouTube chat and pretend like I know what I'm talking about, because that's all the time I step into the commentary booth. It's just me pretending I know what I'm talking about. Side by side into the chicane. Pascal Jean-Pietre able to stay ahead of Stu Neal. Bence Farkas now has the inside line for the final corner, but he gets his nose chopped off as Stu Neal keeps his composure. Still 13 minutes left. Pascal in 5th, under pressure, moving to the right, then back to the left just to cover off his bases, break the toe as best he can, but they've now got the bottom 3 closing in because of how hard they're fighting. Also here, Mariusz Zabdir on the back of Pavel and they should be making some good advancements forward, but unfortunately dropping back into the clutches of not only a battle amongst themselves, but also with Lloyd now in the mix. They are closing the gap to Fraser Rostance, but 1.7 seconds is going to be tough to close, and it's only going to close unless they all work in unison. So maybe Zabdir should just hold fire at least for now so that they can fight for the better objective. At the moment, Zabdir in 3rd, Farkas in 7th. That should be some good points gained for Zabdir. All depends on how many points exactly. I mean, he was 11 points down coming into today. Race 1 saw him 1 place behind Farkas in 2nd. Now he's 3rd, Farkas is 7th. Is that going to be enough for him to top the Hungarian to 2nd place in the championship? And that could well be why he's pushing for more. Of course, for those unfamiliar, £150 for the championship winner, which as it stands looks to firmly be Lloyd Bidoff. 100 for 2nd and 50 for 3rd. So £50 swing in each position. So Zabdir, if he can gain those 11 points, then he would be over the moon with an extra bit of moolah in his back pocket, looking for that move to the inside of Pavel Mukkonen. Of course, the 2nd and 3rd drivers up 5 places apiece. A great start for them, but Lloyd Bidoff as well trying to make some advancements forward. Would love to finally get ahead of Zabdir. And Charlie Monk are very right in saying that Fraser is doing very well to keep the gap to the drivers behind. I mean, these 3, they're good. They are firmly good enough. And of course, they're quick enough as well. No offense to Fraser Rostance, but he's not as quick as Mukkonen, Zabdir, or Bidoff. But he's still got over a 2nd gap. He's still leading this race. He's still holding his composure, which is a mightily impressive thing to do. These 3 are just not doing themselves any favours. Mukkonen constantly defending, constantly looking over his shoulder, because Zabdir is constantly putting him under pressure and fighting side by side with him. They are not going to be winning any races like this, and maybe they're fighting for 2nd. Maybe, yeah, they're racing drivers and they should fight for their own positions, but there's a greater good at stake here. Would they rather battle for 2nd or suck it up, put their egos aside for just 5 minutes while they close the gap, and then be able to fight for a win? There's a mutual benefit to all of them if they just work together for a few laps, close that gap. If it doesn't work, then battle, then fight, but at least give it a chance. But so many people are too quick to just anchor down and die on that hill of said position. Not to say Mukkonen is doing anything wrong as such. I mean, you know, he's quite entitled to defend that position should he want, or even to be the one to lead the charge. Because, you know, there's been times when I'm racing, I'm like, well, yeah, I want to go and catch this guy, but I don't want you to do it. I want me to do it. I want you to stay behind me while we go and catch. And Charlie Monk Fraser has been split between the MS5 Cup, top 10 in the UK, a very strong driver. That is without a doubt. He's proving that today. And definitely showcasing his mettle at keeping behind Mukkonen, Zabdir and Bidoff. Zabda, of course, a multiple-time winner in race room ranked events, multiple-time podium finisher in race room ranked events. Of course, the Road America 2 Hours, the GT3 Pro Series Renault winner, second at the Daytona 2.4 Hours, second place at Daytona. He, of course, qualified for the race room WTCR Championship as well. So, you know, these guys are good drivers. Rostance, he's not quite had as impressive of a season as he would have liked. I mean, he is a little bit further down in the championship, 13th place, but is on course for his first win in the Trippsix Motorsport Super Touring Championship. And yeah, Pavel is doing everything right. He's fully entitled to. He's fully entitled to defend that position. He just needs Zabdir and Bidoff to get the memo and say, boys, come on, it's working. They are closing the gap. It begs the question: how much quicker could they have closed the gap had they worked together? I mean, they could now, instead of having 9 minutes to close, have 13 minutes to close. Just being told that as it stands, Zabdir is 16 points behind Bence Farkas in the championship, so it is going to take a bit of a miracle for the pole to take that second place. Top 20 in the world. I wouldn't doubt Mariusz Zabdir to be top 20 in the world in race room. You see him everywhere. In every top level championship and every top level event, he's always in that broadcast split. He is mega. And now the fight for the lead is on. Pavel Mukkonen fighting with Fraser Rostance, who is not giving up his one and only chance for a win up easy. He is fighting tooth and nail, but around the outside goes Pavel Mukkonen up the hill towards the Michael Schumacher S, and he might well lose 2 places. It's all come undone. He's going to lose 3. Lloyd Bidoff chucks the move to the inside of the Michael Schumacher S. What a move from the championship leader. And Fraser Rostance, it was nice while it lasted. He led the first half of this race, but unfortunately all 3 of them come charging through at a moment's notice. The Next Gen Racing Machine now down to 4th. But what a move from all 3, making the most, and of course not wanting to waste any time. Mukkonen went for the move, so Zabdir says, nah, you're not getting away from me, mate. Followed him through. And then when Rostance was left to dry on the outside of the Schumacher S, Lloyd Bidoff was just like, all right, that's mine too, and followed him through. It was a risk for sure for the Audi RS3, but a mighty one indeed to stay in contention for the lead of this race. Bence Farkas also closing in, 7 minutes 35 seconds left to go. Pavel Mukkonen under a ton of pressure. He's got the lead. How long is he going to keep it for? Mariusz Zabdir now chucks the move to the right-hand side. Is he later on the brakes? Yes, he is. I think Mukkonen is going to try and keep his foot in. He has done. Long way round. He's now got the inside for turn number 2, but the outside momentum swings the way of the pole. Zabdir, nicely done. He's got the agility, but now he's got to do it all over again for the next left-hander here at turn 3. Pavel Mukkonen late on the brakes, but Zabdir now has the inside for 4. Nicely done. You can see Lloyd Bidoff might well get the up and under on the pair of them. Could we see 3 wide going into the next left-hander? I think Bidoff is staying nip and tuck behind the Russian driver, who stays now ahead of Zabdir. Lloyd Bidoff on the inside for 2nd. Zabdir not going to give this one up at all. He's forced wide. He's off the road, but he's still going to give it up. Well, not going to give it up without a fight. Unfortunately, it wasn't good enough. He has to stay behind. Fraser Rostance now back into contention for a podium. What a move from Lloyd Bidoff, carving his way through. Six minutes 24 seconds left to go. Pavel Mukkonen putting up a mega defence against the top 2 in the championship. Rostance, let's see what he can do. He's fighting with Zabdir for 3rd, especially if they continue to battle. I have to say my leg is absolutely shaking. Charlie coming in to say that Fraser must have lost some heat in his, or overheated his tyres, overdriving the car. Very easy to do, of course, especially in front-wheel drive machines. Of course, those front tyres are taking a heavy hit. They're driving the car, they're steering the car, and, you know, naturally they are going to heat up, especially if you overdrive it, if you put too much force under braking through them, if you try and drive the car too aggressively, they're just going to overheat and overheat, and it's so difficult to bring them back into that operating temperature window in any sim across any discipline. Once those tyres start to overheat, you have to effectively drop a good 2 seconds a lap to even slowly bring them back into a comfortable window. So Fraser Rostance dropping back ever so slightly, but still don't count him out. If these three fight harder, then there's more to come. I have to say, we've gotten 3/4 of the way through this race, and I've not even said anything more about Season 3 because of how hectic it has been. I'll reveal to you that on the 31st of March we'll be going to Silverstone, and then, get this, we'll be heading to Slovakia for round number 7. It's not really a track that you see often used too much in the former Slovakia. Then we head up the mountain. The 14th of April goes to Bathurst for Malaysia, and then we go to the Nurburgring again for the season finale. But like I teased a little bit earlier on, we'll be going to the Nurburgring Nordschleife. So not this one, the big one, the big, the bumpy, the difficult, the green hell, that one, the famous one, the 20-kilometer long one, that one, to round off the season. That should be a lot of fun on the 28th of April. Miles away, you know, 5.5 months away before we get to that point. I'm looking forward to it. Let's bring it on. Season 3 then, there's the calendar. Sign-up opens on the 1st of December for those interested for the Trippsix Motorsport Super Touring Championship 3. As I say, we've got the start date on the 18th of February when we go to Suzuka. Increased prize money, hopefully, and of course for those that are not too confident in their fight for podiums, you've got the Super Touring Cup, similar to the Jack Sears Trophy and BTCC, where if you don't score a podium, but you can finish the highest in the championship of those that haven't scored a podium, you can get yourself your own little accolade, your own little Super Touring Cup to take home and love. Charlie Monk saying he definitely needs to get involved next season. Beware, guys, he is an absolute bullet out on circuit. One to watch. Sergey also saying he might get involved. I hope that you do. Would be lovely to be calling the action. Not that we, aren't going to miss your presence in the YouTube chat. We firmly are, but hopefully we'll get some more people to fill your place. Hopefully we're going to have some more lovely people at home tuning in to watch the Super Touring Championship, because it's been thoroughly enjoyable to commentate on. Myself and Dara have both said. I mean, Dara, he's still starting out in commentary, still slowly trying to build his portfolio, but where I've been able to help him, where I can, he said that this is firmly one of the most enjoyable championships he's commentated on. And when I asked him to stand in for me last week when my internet decided to not work, he was like, yeah, please, yeah, all right, please find a way for me to get on that. I mean, I hope your internet doesn't work, because it was so much fun last time. He was ready to just come and do it on short notice, just like that, because of how enjoyable this championship is. Trust me as a commentator, even being solo in the, even solo in the commentary booth, I mean, it is difficult trying to talk for effectively, how long have we been going for now? An hour and 25 minutes, an hour and a half by yourself. But these guys give you stuff to talk about. It's not just me talking, it's you guys in the YouTube chat, it's these guys just having that passion that flows through the screen and gives me something to talk about constantly to hopefully keep this interesting. Thank you, Charlie Monk, and hopefully I'll be on the comms next season. I mean, that is the plan, and I will definitely get those dates penciled in, and maybe Dara Thacker as well can get on the action. That would be lovely to accommodate him into the commentary booth as well. Thank you very much, Charlie Monk. Of course, we haven't got the rest of the race room ranked commentary team, the likes of Lewis McGlade and Cam Roger and Ewan O'Leary. Yeah, you've got me and Dara. And if you do want us more often, definitely do tune in to the race room rank side of things. It'll be me and Dara for the next few Wednesdays on the Carrera and Praga Cup over the course of the next couple of weeks. So do tune in. Come say hello. Charlie Monk will be racing as well, so if you want to go and cheer him on, do definitely do so. Final lap, by the way, of the season, and it's led by Pavel and Lloyd and Zabdir. 3 drivers that firmly do deserve to be on the podium in the dying stages of this race, and of course for the final race of the championship. These guys have been mega. Pavel Mukkonen, I mean, he's really impressed me this season. He's taken 5 podiums so far this season, but never a win. His best finish is a 2nd place at both Monza and race 1 at Road America, and then 3 third places at the Saxon Ring, Road America, and the Hockenheim Ring. So he's taken podiums at both of our trips to Germany, and now he's going to take a win if he can hang on to it for the final half a lap. what a season the Russian has had. What a debut season. It's been thoroughly impressive. He's given so much, driven so impeccably well, and is going to be so grateful to have been given this second chance at race 2 after the incident that happened at our first attempt. Thankfully, the service did drop out and allow Mikonen this second go. Timer ticks down to 0. The checkered flag will be waved. So not only do we crown a new victor for the Trippsix Motorsport Super Touring Championship, we re-crown a champion in the form of Lloyd Biddulph. What a mega season that he's had. It's been every round. He's had countless podiums. He's finished 4th twice, and he might well be going for 2nd as well. Zabdir fighting away with Lloyd Biddulph through the final corner. It's going to be championship glory and a fight to the end, but Pavel Mikonen takes victory in the final round of the championship. It's Lloyd Biddulph that comes across the line in 2nd. And champion again of the Super Touring Championship. What a season. It's boasted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 victories, and even more podiums on top of that. Pavel Mikonen, though, gets his first here today. A victory at the Nurburgring. Lloyd Biddulph and Zabdir, the top 3 of the final race. Fraser Rostance in 4th, a great result for him, albeit not on the podium. Bence Farkash 5th, and so far we believe to be 2nd place in the championship. Pascal Jean-Pietro and Shores Oyster 6th and 7, with Stu Neal, Simon Trebek, Alan Axe in the top 10. An unfortunate DNF for Nenad Vlasovic on the final round of the championship, rounds off 11th. We'll, of course, confirm the championship order of this race, and of course we will confirm the extra £20 prize for the lowest average number of incident points as well. See you on Wednesday, Charlie, of course. Yeah, absolutely, mate. Looking forward to seeing you take on Imola in those Porsche Cups. Thank you to everyone watching, of course. We're not quite done yet. We just have a couple more things to run through, and then a quick reminder of all the announcements that we've got for season number 3. So let's wait. We're just going to sit eagerly. I'm going to wait for that Discord notification from Rich, just to say, you know, this is this. And yeah, DB Trance, well done to all those that turned up each week to race. It is greatly appreciated, the committed attendance from everyone. You know, we all have real lives. You know, as I say, this is a hobby, this is a passion. Things do get in the way, but those that have been able to commit and turn up week in, week out, it's been thoroughly impressive, and it's been a pleasure to talk you through all of the action. There we go. There is the notification. I have confirmed that Lloyd Biddulph is the 2nd champion in a row. 100% championship win rate for Lloyd Biddulph. Bence Farkash takes 2nd, and therefore 100 Great British Pounds to his name. Mariusz Zabdir takes 3rd and takes 50, and waiting eagerly for the winner of that extra £20 prize of lowest incident points. Basically, the driver that has stayed the cleanest over the course of our 2 months season. And Rich telling us to confirm the incident points later. So we've just basically been told that we're going to have to wait. So that is a little bit of a tease from Rich there, but fair play. Basically means that you're going to have to get yourself onto the Trippsix Motorsport Discord and indulge as to who's taken the £20 prize. But well done to, of course, Lloyd Biddulph for his 2nd championship. Well done to Mariusz Zabdir for staying consistent inside the top 3. And well done to Bence Farkash for getting himself up there. Christian Orban and, of course, Charlie Monk coming in to congratulate them. He's come into the YouTube chat to say a great championship. It's been a pleasure to have you, Bence. You are a mightily quick driver. Look forward to seeing you throughout the rest of the Race Room Ranked Championship. And, of course, back for Season 3, which the sign-ups for will open on the 1st of December in a couple of weeks' time. So if you want to get involved, because these spots are going to go fast. Make sure you can commit. We've got 10 rounds, 20 races of racing action. It starts on the 18th of February when we go to Suzuka, Aragon, Imola, the Twin Ring, Motegi and Spa for the first 5 rounds. Then we go to Silverstone, Slovakia, Bathurst, Sepang and the Nordschleife to round off the 10-week championship on the 28th of April. More prize money involved, big names in the championship, and battles up and down. Hopefully, myself, Zach Sweeney in the commentary booth, maybe Dareth Thacker as well. Still some details to be confirmed in regards to everything. So stay in touch, follow us on Instagram, get involved in the Discord as well. It's been a mega pleasure. Yeah, sign-ups will be through the Trippsix Discord, and also check out the Trippsix Motorsport website as well. So just get in everywhere, be everywhere. That means you can always stay up to date. That means you can never miss a thing when it comes to the Trippsix Motorsport Super Touring Championship. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to bring an end to our coverage, not only of this evening, but to the season. We'll see you back in a few months' time when we head to Suzuka on the 18th of February. My name has been Zach Sweeney. It's been amazing to have your company for the last 8 weeks of racing action. Thank you to Dareth Thacker for jumping in on short notice and taking the reins in the commentary booth. Thank you to Richard's son Max for being behind the scenes, pushing the cameras, pushing the buttons, making the stream look as beautiful as it is. Of course, thank you to Rich for organising and dealing with the stress and the troubles and making sure that this amazing community stays afloat for as long as it has. And of course, thank you to the drivers. Without you guys, this would not be possible at all. Thank you for driving so well and being so clean and fast and just giving us this action to enjoy our Sunday evenings with. And thank you to you guys at home as well. Again, without the viewership at home, again, it would make it a little bit, less enjoyable, because you guys have been so great in the YouTube chat. Of course, cheering on your favourites, giving me your thoughts, your feelings, queries and questions, and all the nice words that come with it as well. I've waffled on long enough. We're going to have to say goodbye at some point. 18th of February, don't miss it if you're a spectator, and obviously if you're a driver. If you're a driver that's planning to drive, the 1st of December, website and Discord, get yourself signed up, and we'll see you when we head to Suzuka.